Heroism. It's the pursuit of two ideals, excellence and a higher purpose. This noble mission is not just found in Hollywood. It's a game changer for businesses devoted to it. Almost all business owners launch their company to make a difference in the world around them. Join us on the Heroic Experience as we talk with business owners, senior leaders, and established entrepreneurs so that you too can elevate your business to heroic success. Now, here's your host, John D. Hanson.
Welcome back to the Heroic Experience. We are grateful to be sponsored by Kaufman Media. Check out their digital signage solutions and far more on their website, kaufmanmedia.com. That's spelled COFFMAN media.com. I am happy to have Brenda Haire, author and business consultant, as our guest today on the Heroic Experience. And Brenda, first of all, welcome to the show. Second thing is, we always start off the show, the very first segment, is we want to hear some wow client stories of individuals or companies you've worked with, that especially the ones that may have never heard of you, and then they get the opportunity to work with you, and they are so glad they did. So welcome to the show, and we would love to hear some of those stories from you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to share some wow stories because my clients, that's the lifeblood of our company, and we are so excited about the different types of clients we work with. So I'll tell one from each kind of bucket, because we actually work with three kind of different types of clients. The first one, we work with authors. We work with authors who are trying to build a business around their message or their story or maybe their book. And recently I've been working with a client. She's in a group coaching program, and she writes fiction. And so she's like, I don't really understand. I've been working with this coach for a really long time, and they kept saying they were going to teach me how to turn this into a course. And I don't understand it. I don't understand how to turn my fiction books into a course. And so I've been working with her on it, and it really came kind of naturally. She said she was working through an author talk. She was about to go speak and do what we call an author talk. And she was working through it, and I was helping her with it. And I said, that's your course right there. You just said it. And you could just see the goosebumps like rising on her. And she's like, are you kidding? For years I've been waiting for this aha moment, and here it is. And I'm like, yep, here it is. And so she has a name for it now, and she's ready to put her course together. And that was just really exciting and fun to actually be able to see it visually first, her pause, and it's like, wait, what? This is it? This is how simple it really is. So that was a lot of fun. So we love working with authors and helping them build businesses around their message. And we also, the second type of client is kind of the opposite. We work with business builders who want to write a story or want to share a story to take their business to the next level. So maybe it's their process that they have, like they have this secret sauce and they want to write a book about it. Or maybe it's their, how they, their origin story, how they began. They want to share that story. We work with those type of clients as well. And I'm working with a client right now. She's working on, I knew when I met her, she was a multiple book woman. I was like, you've got multiple books in you. And she's like, I'm not real sure what that means. I'm guessing it's a compliment. I'm like, yes, it's a compliment. And there's many in there. And so we started on one book, and she started going down this path. And she said, I think I want to take a break. And I'm like, that's fine. So we took a break, and she came back, and she said, I think you're going to be mad because I'm taking the book in a different direction. I'm like, no, let's hear it. And she told me, I said, no, that's perfect. That's the derivative of the 3 books that you have in you. So that's perfect. She told me the title, and it's like, this is all 3 of your books. Same title. It will be this, kind of like the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. You have Chicken Soup for the Soul for this teenagers, moms, this, that, and the other. She'll have the same with her books. And so it just fit perfectly. And to see it come together in her mind for the first time, she wasn't sold on this multiple book thing. She didn't believe she had multiple books in her, but when it came together for her, she, just to see it, I love zooming with my clients and seeing their faces when when the light bulb goes off. So that's a lot of fun. So that was the second type of client, seeing that happen. And then lastly, the third client we work with, and this is kind of how you and I got to know each other, was through the Team Solutions series. So we, my business partner, Amanda Painter, and I, we just recently completed a 4-book series for HR practices. And it's really helping that person out that is a business builder. They may or may not be the business owner, but they're sitting in an HR seat and they're clueless. They're just like, I know I need to hire some people, and I know I need to figure this people stuff out, but these people are a mess, and I don't know what to do with them. we work with those people. We help those people. They may not be educated on HR practices at all. We help them from hiring all the way through to the exit process and how to protect their company in the process of people leaving, which is so important right now. So love working with all of those clients. Recently had a great interaction with one of those on LinkedIn, of all places. The poor guy reached out to me privately on LinkedIn and said, I wanted to post this on your post, but my boss is on LinkedIn, and I didn't want him to see this. So I hope you don't mind messaging me or me messaging you. And they said, we're struggling. Our HR person is the boss's wife, and so we don't really have a lot of HR practices happening. Mm-hmm. And this infrastructure I keep seeing you post about, we don't have it, and I don't know how to get it in our company when I sit in the seat I sit in. And so I started coaching him, through LinkedIn Messenger, basically. And it's so great that we have the books to help support him, because now he's going to be able to take the books and kind of come alongside her as hey, I came across these books that I really think might help us out. And so it's a little less threatening than, hey, you suck at your job.
Exactly. Yes.
I know you're the boss's wife. That's the only reason why you're sitting in the seat. But here, so it's going to help him. It gives him a tool to come alongside and really support her in her role that she shouldn't be sitting in, bless her. Unfortunately, it happens in small companies more often than it should. But that's the third client that we serve. And so being able to serve him with the books, kind of secretly through LinkedIn Messenger is kind of fun.
Yeah, totally. The first two that you mentioned, the common thread that I saw there were the light bulb moments. As a public speaker, I love that. It gives me so much energy and that's why I love live events. Virtual's good. I can connect with people worldwide on those. So reach is broader, but I can't read the room. Where if I'm speaking from a stage, I can read the room and I see the light bulb moments happen. I see people nodding. I see them taking notes furiously. I see them talking to their neighbor. And there's energy in the room after when a new paradigm is introduced and people are just abuzz about it. That's where I can get a feel for the room. And the goosebump moments you talk about, especially on a one-on-one or a coaching experience, that is so rewarding and fulfilling. And I know we're going to dive into that into detail in the third segment with just about a minute left. One thing I wanted to touch on also, you mentioned small businesses. So for people listening, the value to what you do that takes their ideas and puts it into a book, the DIY, the do-it-yourself value to it is number one, like you said, not threatening of bringing in some expert that's going to talk down or they feel like they're going to point out what's wrong with things. But more importantly, that do-it-yourself resource, they can take that and apply those things right away. So if someone has a book idea, here's the power of it. I discovered last year when I was putting together a presentation for a small business development group, I found out in Ohio that 99.6% of businesses in Ohio are small, 100 employees or less. I thought, that's shocking. I thought it was in the 80s. No, I checked all of the states in the country, and the lowest, I would say, was like 92% of businesses were small. So the average is 95%. So if you're listening and you work with small businesses or you want to, or you have an idea that can help small businesses, you need to get a hold of Brenda and run your idea past her. Here's why. The bulk of the opportunity is all around you, and most people are chasing the 5% because of the big paycheck. But the biggest opportunity to impact is with small businesses. So come back and join us after the break, because Brenda is going to share her story with us, where we get to hear her journey of how she got to where she is now. So stay tuned, come back and join us after the break, where we get to hear more from Brenda Haire.
Inspire, influence, and connect your audience with digital signage. Kaufman Media offers customizable digital signage solutions designed to meet your company's specific goals. Whether you need digital menu boards for your quick service restaurant, digital displays for marketing in your retail stores, or wayfinding and unified communications for your schools, your corporations, or your healthcare facility, our customizable, affordable options and proven experience make us the only partner you'll need for your next digital signage project. Visit kaufmanmedia.com today to learn more. That's COFFMAN media.com.
Would you buy a car from a dealer without a test drive first? For your business, a consulting partner is even more important. Accelerated Revenue is excited to announce the Take Us for a Test Drive event. Receive 2 exclusive workshops on customer experience and winning culture, a customized culture snapshot, and a leadership strategy session worth over $10,000, all in for just $2,500. Best of all, when you onboard our consulting team, we'll credit you the entire $2,500. Spots are limited, so visit our website today at accrev.com/test drive.
Check out John's worldwide selling book, Wow Your Customers, 7 Ways to World-Class Service on Amazon. Now, once again, here's John.
Welcome back to the Heroic Experience, where we are here to elevate your business to heroic success. And we are so glad to be sponsored by Kaufman Media. Digital signage, it's everywhere. It's part of the landscape everywhere around us. Discover how it can help you connect with your team internally and your customers and prospects externally. Visit their website, kaufmanmedia.com. That's spelled COFFMAN media.com. Happy to have Brenda Haire, business consultant and author, as our guest today on the Heroic Experience. And Brenda, this is my favorite segment of the show, but before we go into hearing your story, we came right up against a break. I didn't get to hear if you had any thoughts and feedback to the couple of things I shared right before the break. If you had any thoughts on that before we dive into your journey, what's some of your comments on those couple of observations that I shared?
Sure. Yeah. Small businesses, it's an interesting place to be, right? Mm-hmm. Some of them get overlooked because they are so small. Mm-hmm. They don't get the support that they need. On the flip side of that, sometimes there's too much support coming at them, and they're reading, every small business book out there.
Too many
and
ideas.
They're taking advice from, too much
mm-hmm.
going on. Too much information, not enough implementation.
Right.
And so they're in this unique place. And so really finding a coach that's been where you want to go, whether that's, a business coach you're looking for, whether it's a specific, targeted practice you're looking for, HR practices or, writing a book, whatever that is, finding that specific person that's been there, I think is the most important thing. A lot of, it always cracks me up when I see these social media managers come out of the woodworks and they're like, it can help you build your Instagram to whatever, and you look and they have 3 followers. It's like, you have 3 followers. Like, what do you know about your job? But you see that across every field. And I would encourage small business owners to really look at the businesses that are where they want to be mm-hmm. and take those coaches, take that advice. Yeah. There's so many coaches out there, and everybody, I see it all over and maybe it's just the way my algorithm is on my social media feed. Mm-hmm. I see all these different business coaches just popping up everywhere, business coach. And I'm like, has this person even been in business? Like, how old are they?
Right.
And those kind of things really concern me because I'm like, well, they may have some great ideas, but if you don't have the experience behind it, which is kind of funny. It's a great segue leading into our next topic of a little bit of my history.
Yeah.
So I don't know how ready you are for that. But,
we love it. I mean, I have people that sit across from me at the desk here in the studio that I've known for years, but I hadn't heard their story until they share it here on the show. I'm like, I didn't know that about them. So people's stories are what really connect and engage with people. We'd love to hear yours. Go back as far as you like. This segment's devoted to it.
Sure. Well, I think it's hilarious. So you and I first met, I guess, on LinkedIn, and we share the same birthday, January 26th, and we also are both military veterans. And
how
so that's
cool.
kind of how we connected. So talk about stories connecting people. Mm-hmm. But going back as far as I can, so my job history is vast. I've had over 40 jobs in my 49 years, mm-hmm. and a lot of people will be like, gasp, oh my gosh, what, 40 jobs? But I've always worked my way up and out and just onto the next adventure. I'm risky that way. I like to move on and up. If I can come into a company, help them out, solve the problems, fix the problems, and then move on, the challenge is over for me, so I'm out. And that's kind of what I've done my whole career, which is interesting. I look back and at all the different jobs I've had, and that's kind of what I've done at every single one of them. I've never been fired, which is kind of funny considering how many jobs I've had. I've had plenty of opportunities. But it's always been, coming in, solving the problems, fixing the problems. And at some companies, they don't want the problems fixed.
Right.
So then it's a frustration where I have to leave because I can't stay if I can't fix the problem.
Right.
And so moving on and up. And so the Air Force, that was well over 20 years ago. Short-lived for me. I was 2 years active duty, 2 years reserve. And then I went into the hotel industry and worked in the hotel industry for quite a bit of years, 4.5 years or so. I loved it. It was like being on vacation all the time. Loved being in the hotel business. Learned a lot. That's where I really got my feet wet in marketing and learning about branding and how all that fits together. Worked for great properties for Marriott down in San Antonio and really enjoyed that. I went into different industries after that, but it was, even into ministry. I served on the church mega staff for 4.5 years, which was another wonderful experience. All my vast experience has really helped me to end up exactly where I am today, which is crazy. When I first learned about, we talked about EOS earlier, Entrepreneurial Operating System. When I first learned about that, and I learned the difference between visionary and integrator, I said, "Oh, this explains so much about me," because I'm really fall right in the middle.
Yeah, I'm
a natural integrator, but I am a visionary, and so for me to have both is rare, and for me to balance both. So I'm fortunate. I have a wonderful business partner. I mentioned her earlier, Amanda Painter. She's fantastic, and she's an integrator. And so for her to come alongside me is fantastic because as visionary, I need my integrator. But I'm also integrator enough that we work well together in that realm where we just kind of complete each other, which is nice. And so, I in 2003, I had kind of been through the gamut of jobs. I was pretty newly married at the time, and my husband's like, "You don't have to work. You can stay home with the kids." And I was like, "What?" Like, that's not in me.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And so trying to find out, what I wanted to do with my life, and it was like, And I really felt called to write. And I started to kind of dabble in it and took some manuscripts to publisher, and they said, these are great. Your titles are fantastic. Your writing's great, but you're a nobody.
Oh.
So come back to us when you're a somebody, and we'll be happy to work with you.
Oh, come on. Right. Who starts off being a somebody?
And who says that to somebody else?
Right.
That was awful. Yeah, it was awful. And they were, it's a Christian publishing house, and I was like, what? Who says that? Like, I thought it was nice to me. And it was heartbreaking, and it really kind of set me back, and I thought, okay, well, how do I do this on my own then? And so I kind of struggled and went through that, process of figuring out, okay, what are the options for publishing? What does this look like? What's the difference between traditional self-publishing? What are all these vanity presses? And, there's a cajillion of them out there. So it's like, what do they mean? What do they do? What do they offer? And really just started learning everything I could. And then in 2010 or so, I had gone back to school, and I tell a little bit of this story in my first book about kind of my discovering myself. I went back to school to get a safe job. I was going to get this safe career. Writing's not a safe career. And so I thought, I'm going to get this safe one, And my grandmother, I had sent some writings home to her, and she read them and thought they were wonderful, I guess, because she asked me to write about all the good in her life. And she said, here, I'd already started, and she handed me this notebook full of her writing, and I was like, oh, okay, we're doing this. And so my first book is kind of me putting my journey of discovering my worth and what I wanted to do with my life together with her journey of always knowing hers. And it's called Save the Butter Tubs, Discover Your Worth in a Disposable World. And it came together. It was like the last great puzzle her and I ever did together. And in that process, I learned everything and anything about publishing that I could. I just absorbed it all and went on to work for a vanity press that had helped me with my publishing, and became the president of that company for a couple of years, and was like, okay, this is helping people publish their stories is absolutely something in my wheelhouse that I want to continue.
Well, we're up against the break, Brenda. So we're going to finish your story when we come back to the last segment. Plus, we're going to learn about your books, best way to contact, how to get your books, all that. So hang with us. Come back for the last segment where we get to hear more from Brenda Haire.
Did you know that 70% of U.S. residents 12 and older recall seeing digital signage in the past week? Digital signage provides a 35% reduction in perceived wait time with a 30% increase in a customer's in-store browsing time. Kaufman Media offers customizable digital signage solutions designed to meet your company's specific goals. Christina said,
"We love our digital signage. The software is easy to use and we can publish content in minutes. It allows for every department to be seen and have a voice."
Visit kaufmanmedia.com today to learn more. That's COFFMAN media.com.
Attention event planners. Is your company or association planning a conference, seminar, or staff retreat? Are you looking for fresh ideas on high-demand topics like customer experience, leadership, empathy, customer service, earning and keeping trust, and more? Then you need to book John D. Hansen as your next speaker. Brooke said,
"Great presentation. John's concepts help shift my thinking. A good fit for my life right now."
read more testimonials, discover John's full list of speaking topics, check out pricing and more on our website, accrev.com/keynote.
Would you like to be a guest on the Heroic Experience? Contact us at john.hansen@accrev.com. Now, once again, here's John.
Welcome back to the Heroic Experience, where we are committed to elevating your business to heroic success. We are grateful to be sponsored by Kaufman Media, digital signage solutions, and far more. Check out their website, kaufmanmedia.com. That's spelled COFFMAN media.com. I am so happy to have Brenda Haire, a business consultant and author, as our guest today. Brenda, man, you said so many things that just resonated strongly with me, but I do want to pick back up. I felt like your story had just a little bit more to go, where you were in this self-discovery process. You were starting to get success. You got to partner with your grandmother, correct, on stories
Correct.
that she had already, and that kind of got your journey as an author going. So before we kick into that, though, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you? I'm sure there's multiple ways. And where can they go to get copies of your books?
Sure. Copies of the books, they're available everywhere books are sold, obviously, Amazon. They can head there. Everything's there under Brenda A. Haire, and my last name is Haire, like the hair on your head, but with an E on the end.
Mm-hmm.
And they can get a hold of me at Brenda at thejoyofpursuit.com is my email, Brenda at thejoyofpursuit.com. Our website, of course, is thejoyofpursuit.com, and we offer consulting courses, the whole 9 yards. It's all there. So whatever their needs are, I'd love to consult with people and kind of see how we fit before we work together. See what a lot of times people think they have a certain need, and it's actually a different need.
Sure.
I love to work that out before getting in too deep with people. But yeah, that's the nutshell. All 6 of the books are there on Amazon. I've got my story with my grandmother. Like I said, that was my first book in 2018. My daughter and I went on to publish a Bible study companion to that. It's actually a derivative of it, but it's a Bible study companion to it. And then my business partner and I just published 4 books, which thank you for writing the foreword for book number 2 in the series. We just published the Team Solution Series, which I said is an HR coaching for to grow profit and teams. So we're very excited about that series, and it's the timing of it is just perfect.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And yes, 2 things. One is you're also on LinkedIn. It's got a great presence there, all kinds of content. So if you're on LinkedIn like I am, I love the platform. Connect with Brenda there. The second thing is the Great Resignation. I chuckle a little bit because this was there before COVID came along. COVID just served as a magnifier for a lot of things. And one of those things was employee experience and HR and onboarding and staffing and all those challenges. They were there before. It just really put a magnifying glass over it. So if companies were kind of winging it, that's not cutting it anymore. And it's even more daunting for small to mid-sized companies, right? What I loved about your books as I got to dive into them was how practical and do-it-yourself they are, where you can take these, and HR is looking for solutions. The ones who are, I'll take that back. The companies who are looking for solutions that don't want to do it the way they've always done it, that hasn't worked anyways, are looking for fresh ideas, but they can't just throw it at a whim. Like big companies have departments that do HR. Businesses, They're usually wearing multiple hats. What would you say on that series that you wrote? What's been some of the most rewarding feedback you've gotten from companies that have gotten a hold of those resources and started to implement them? Yes.
Well, each book, I'll go through real quick. The hiring process is the first one, the onboarding, the retention process, and the exit. So we literally walk you through the entire journey of having a candidate, from start to finish. The most rewarding part is the people actually implementing and using the tools that we give. So we've created over 38 different tools. Each book is like an SOP for that particular process. So if you're looking to hire someone and you're like, I don't even know where to start, great. Grab it. We walk you through the process. We give you all the tools. There's a course coming. Amanda's working on the course right now for this, for people who want more behind the scenes on how do you set up this tracking system and how does this work. There's a course coming for that. We believe that on the front end, you do a little bit of work. It always pays off big dividends in the end, right?
Yeah.
So setting up the system, which is funny. I saw you post recently about Atomic Habits.
Yes.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
And, it says in that book, we don't rise to the level of our goals, but we fall to the level of our system.
Yes.
And I think that if you just took that one quote out of that book, that is what's happening across the board with these businesses right now, is they're falling to the level of their systems, and they don't have any systems in place to fall to.
Right.
It's shocking. And so that's been the greatest compliment, is people saying, grabbing the tools, saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're giving this to us, first of all, for free, because all the tools are free. They can grab them right now on thejoyofpursuit.com/books. They can go download all the free tools. And then, in each book, it's like an SOP. So it just walks you through, this is what you need to do next. There's checklists. There's everything they need. And so it's kind of a HR in a box, if you will.
Yeah. Man, Atomic Habits, the systems used to have such a dirty word because it seemed like it's impersonal. But then when you look at the companies that have excellent customer and employee experience, like Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, they have systems. That's part of why it works so well. And that's been the dearth behind why customer and employee experience typically suffers at a small to mid-sized companies, because the lack of systems and the lack of personal connection. It's both. But that quote by James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, when you fall to the level of your systems, it's like, oh, that was not necessarily a gut punch, but it was an eye-opening awakening of, oh gosh, no wonder that's why certain companies that just have it figured out, and then a lot of small to mid-sized companies struggle with that. What would you say, Brenda? Yes, go ahead.
It's funny that you'd bring up Chick-fil-A, because Chick-fil-A is an example of that. People think everything has to be overcomplicated, and it's just too simple. But Chick-fil-A, if I said to you, "My pleasure, John," my pleasure, that's from Chick-fil-A.
Right, right.
You know that. And it's something so simple that people would be like, oh, come on, really? Like, we have to say this after every customer? Like, this is so, But it puts them at a standard. It's something so simple, but it's a system, and it's something that is duplicatable, replicatable across the board. And that's all a system is. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be something easily replicated across the board that works for your need. And when it's done right, look at Chick-fil-A.
Right. I have a friend that was been on the show a couple times, and I said, every time I say this, I'm going to attribute it to you because you came up with it first, or that's where I heard it first. Nick Glimsdahl is a good friend of mine in the customer experience space, and he said 5-star customer experience is simple, but it's not easy. And the simplicity part is how you do it. The part that's not easy is implementing it, executing it, being consistent in that. And that's where the genius comes in. It's making it simple first. So like you said, it's repeatable. You can easily train someone else up in it. But if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And that's why it needs to be simple so that it can be implemented, because that's what takes the effort. We've got less than a minute. Time just flies so fast. 30 seconds. What would you say has been for you, Brenda, the most rewarding part of this journey you've had so far?
Oh, gosh. The most rewarding part, I think, is to help other people see things are possible that they never thought was possible. Starting with my business partner, she's a numbers girl. She was our CFO at our former company. And no one ever thought she would write a book, much less co-author 4 books with me. And to see people who never thought they would write a book or never thought that their message mattered, those kind of things, just the impossible becoming possible.
Spoken like an integrator through and through. Well, Brenda, thank you so much for being on our show today. If you like to hear the Heroic Experience, you can also hear it on our Accelerated Revenue channel on Spotify, Podbean, and Google Podcasts. We'll see you next time.
This has been the Heroic Experience. To learn how your business can be profitable and heroic, visit ACCREV.com. For access to free weekly content, subscribe to the Accelerated Revenue YouTube channel and follow John D. Hanson on LinkedIn. To listen to archived shows, find them on the Accelerated Revenue website under the Resources tab, ACCREV.com.